punters clearing pickets. Horny's just the best we've ever seen. Come on, Aussie, come on. Come on. Come on, Aussie, come on.
Using the one-dimensional classification system, we have identified that leg spin bowling is a gross motor skill due to whole body movements, a serial skill as there are multiple skills performed in sequence to achieve the one skill, and it is a closed skill as the learner initiates the skill and decides when they want to execute the action. It is important to note that these categories are on a continuum and are not strictly gross or fine, serial or discrete, or closed or open.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that? Now that I found where you're at.
Using Gentile's two-dimensional taxonomy, we have identified that leg spin bowling is classified as a 2D skill. This is due to the body transport, the manipulation of the object, the intertrial variability, and the stationary regulatory conditions.
Using FIT's 3 stages of learning being cognitive, associative and autonomous, we believe that the learner will still be in the cognitive stage as it is a skill that takes longer than 4 weeks to truly master.
The most important part of leg spin is the grip. For the standard leg break, the ball is held with the first 3 fingers and sits comfortably in the palm. The 4th finger is used to generate the spin as the ball comes out of the hand. Because everyone is different, it is important that the learner adopts a run-up that feels comfortable for them. It can range from 2 to 3 steps or to a 5 to 10 metre jog into the crease. Because the learner is coming from a pace bowling background where run-ups are usually 20 metres plus, it is important that the learner tests out different lengths and chooses one that is the most suitable and comfortable to them. Also, spin bowling run-ups usually come in from an angle to the crease, which may take some time to get used to. It is important in the mid-flight phase of the final step, the body should be facing side-on to the crease. This allows for greater range of motion for the arm and wrist to move within to generate maximal spin revolutions. It is important for the final stride to be longer than the previous strides. This allows for the momentum to be transferred into the leading foot when rotating the hip. Hip rotation is a vital component as this is where all the speed comes from when bowling. By being more side-on to the crease, the learner can maximise the angle of rotation, which in turn should result in more spin placed on the ball. The ball should be released just after the arm reaches its peak and should come out through the ring finger. It is important to follow through with the arm and leg once the ball is released from the hand. This will ensure that if the batsman hits the ball towards the bowler, they are braced and ready to field or catch it. Here is a demonstration of all the key aspects of leg spin in action.
Come on, Aussie, come on. Come on. Come on, Aussie, come on. Night or day they're out to make us.
As a pre-test, we implemented a 50 by 50 centimetre square on the pitch just outside the popping crease, which we believe will be an effective area to pitch when bowling to a right-hand batsman. The learner is given 6 balls to land as close as possible to the square, given a point for either landing inside the square, spinning over the square, or hitting a cone.
For the pre-test, results showed that the learner had 2 successful bowls that either pitched inside the square or span over the square. However, the qualitative measures taken showed that the technique was average at best due to the learner's inexperience and exposure to spin bowling. To ensure the learner reached his final goal of learning the skill of leg spin, we set a goal per week for the 4-week training program. To help him achieve his final goal of learning leg spin, the weekly goals were set in order to help him achieve little by little to keep him motivated and intrigued in the activity.
We expect that after the scheduled program that the learner will feel confident about being a leg spin bowler than they were at the start. They will start to know what aspects of their delivery feels comfortable. The drills that will be part of the learner's program will include ball flick into hand. This drill is used as a warm-up drill before bowling, but at the same time it will be used continuously for the learner to get used to the ball in the hand and how the spin is generated. A variation will be an aim to keep the seam straight when completing the task. This gives the learner an idea of how the body feels when delivering the ball. Bowling into a fence and not worrying about where it hits will get the learner feeling comfortable with the execution stage of the skill. A variation will be to aim at a target. Bowling to a coach or teammate and practicing the execution phase again, but being able to view the partner's action when they return the ball. We feel it will be an effective way that the learner can experience through the other modes of learning. A variation will be to land the ball on the ground before their partner. Bowling from a kneeling position to a partner will be an effective way of being in the side-on position whilst being able to spin the ball off the pitch to the receiver. A variation of this will be trying to land the ball without the partner moving. This drill is designed to help the learner understand how important the delivery stride is when executing the skill. The bowler will aim to land their first 3 steps next to the cones that are placed at the popping crease. A variation of this will be to land without the cones. Fielding drills will be conducted to keep the learner interested during the training and giving them a break from bowling. They'll do high catches, ground ball collecting, throwing to keeper and throwing to stumps. A batting session will be used to get the learner's attention off bowling and focusing on their batting skill. A variation of this will be to get an experienced leg spinner to bowl to them so they can view their tactics. The 4-week training program will be split up evenly whilst adding a new drill or variation each week to make sure that the learner's interest is at a high.
Verbal cues are used commonly within training programs to communicate how to perform certain skills. Verbal cues should focus on key elements of the skill. They should draw attention to necessary information and should be short and concise phrases. Some of the verbal cues used in our 4-week program included look through the window, keep your arm up high, time your strides, keep your body side on, and keep your eyes where you want the ball to land. It was assumed that our learner had previous experience of pace bowling. There are many known similarities between pace bowling and leg spin bowling. Many of these similarities, such as running to the crease, bowling to a batsman, and having awareness of batsman positioning, assist with the transfer of learning from pace bowling to leg spin bowling.
I think you've made a great start, Nath. I think there's 1 or 2 things you can focus on. Main ones being your leg stance. Just try and keep it a little bit shorter when you're bowling. And as well as that, just with your arm, you want to try and keep it in a bit closer to your body when you're coming through. But yeah, we'll keep it with those 2 things for now and go from there. So.
In addition to knowledge of results and knowledge of performance, 2 other types of feedback involve concurrent feedback and terminal feedback. For the majority of our coaching, terminal feedback was used, as feedback was given at the end of the learner's attempts. To ensure the learner does not take on all aspects of the skill at once, the skill can be broken down into parts, which can be practiced separately, known as part practice. According to a study on distributed practice by Badley and Longman, they found that people tend to learn a skill better in many short training sessions, rather than lengthy training sessions which are fewer in number. For our 4-week program, we decided to choose 4 to 5 sessions per week, varying from 30 to 45 minutes per session, which included 3 to 4 bowling drills, as well as fielding practice and batting practice towards the end of the session. Following the 4-week training program, a post-test was conducted. The post-test was set out in the same way as the pre-test, in order to see if any improvements had been made. 2 weeks after the post-test, a retention test would be conducted in order to see whether or not the learner had retained the information learnt during the 4-week training program. For the post-test results, the number of successful bowls increased from 2 to 3. However, the qualitative measures showed much greater improvement, with 4 out of 5 measures increasing in rating.
To transfer the learning of leg spin, we will put the bowler straight into the action of bowling to a batsman in the practice nets, just to get a feel for bowling to something that can change the outcome and for the learner to adjust to different conditions.
I say I don't like cricket. Oh no, I love it. I don't like cricket. No, no.